Hello and welcome back to my channel. I feel like I'm dressed for the frozen north today, but I am because it is up here in the north, it is cold. On Thursday we were out and I had on my new Joules winter coat, and I have to say that for the sort of weather we were having, it was not warm enough. So yesterday Joe took me to Ultimate Outdoors and got me a proper Swedish parka. I wanted a North Face one like his, but because I'm very short in stature, the sleeves on it were like 2 or 3 inches past the end of my fingers, just made obviously for taller people. So the young lady in Ultimate Outdoors recommended this Swedish brand called Didrikson, and it was in the Black Friday sale and ended up just over £100 rather than just under £200. But I have to say, when I went out in it last night, it's like wearing the duvet. It's so warm. So I thought I'd show it you. One of the things I like about it's got loads of pockets. Big patch pockets here, hand pockets behind, breast pockets. You can tuck your hands in here, and I'm a great one for putting my hands in pockets. And then a lovely big hood, which is not stiff, so it doesn't push your head forward, which is a problem I have with some of them. Poppers. Double zip, so you can undo it from the bottom if you want to sit in your car. Concealed pocket just here for like your bank card or anything, car keys, anything like that. A net pocket there so I can keep my gloves in it, because I'm a great one for putting my gloves down and leaving them in different places. And I have to say, I think this is possibly, this is a size 12 because I want to be able to get a thick winter jumper or a fleece under it. But it's possibly the warmest coat I've ever had in my life. And it's great because I was telling Mum yesterday, I'm now at a stage in my life where every coat I own fits me. I think I've got 9 or 10 at the last count, but that for me is like just pure joy, because I can, so I will. Outfit of the day. These are the Bieber jeans that I showed the other day in my Black Friday shopping haul. Very comfortable. I think it's a brand I would possibly go with, because one of the problems I have with jeans is that they're too big on the tops of the legs, and these are a slim fit or a skinny fit, but they're reasonable. I've got room like at the back, but they're not like baggy here, which is what I don't like. These were the 28 waist, size 10, and if you remember I got them £41 down from 61, which is not a bad buy. Then one day this week we were in Sainsbury's and just having a mooch around their clothing, and Joe said, oh, there's a jumper over there with your name on it, and stripes of course, and he saw this jumper, and I have to say it feels lovely, and it's just a comfortable like sweater, nice length and my sort of colours, and it was £14. Well, when we got to the till, we hadn't realised there was 25% off all clothing. So it was £10.50, and then blow me down, a voucher popped out of the till saying, as a regular and valued customer, we are giving you free a pack of bacon. So we got a free pack of bacon, didn't we, Joe? Mm-hmm. Which Joe gave to his mate, because it wasn't the kind of bacon that we would necessarily eat, but it was nice and a bit too fatty for us. But he was able to give it to his mate, so we felt really blessed by Sainsbury's that day. Anyway. Results. Been to group this morning, went to the second group, which is my normal group, and it was very friendly, and we had 2 more new members. It was just nice place to be, really buzzing and humming with kind of Christmas excitement. Everybody's getting ready for the festive season, but it's so friendly. I love it. Called at Costa on the way to get my usual large coconut latte for 7 sins. And what result did I get? Well, first of all, I'm going to tell you about what I chose to do this week that was different. Last week we were talking about the new plan and how it's going to evolve and change at Christmas. Now, it did say on the information, if you want to start this now, feel free to do so. The only thing I think that doesn't quite work with that is the fact that the app doesn't change until just before Christmas. So where the changes to milks have been made, and for me that's relevant because I use nut milk and not cow's milk or goat's milk. I know that sweetened milks have been taken off Healthy Extra A's, but I don't use sweetened milk, I use unsweetened coconut milk. So I have assumed that that has stayed at 725 mils. I might find something different when Christmas apps change, so we'll see. In group today, Naomi showed the new pack and everybody said how nice it looked. I didn't get to feel it, so I don't know. But yeah, this week I decided for 1 week, I might actually change that, I would do the new plan. So I'd start the week on 2 healthy extra A's, 1 healthy extra B and 5 to 15 Sims. I decided to push it to the top end of Sims to get a realistic result. So I have actually had 96 Sims this week. I had 9 left by last night. My healthy extra A's have been a milk choice and a cheese choice, because that seemed the obvious way to do it and the obvious way that most people would do it, because A choices are so limited anyway. And what result did I get? Well, first let me say I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed being able to have milk and cheese, because in the past I've generally leaned towards milk rather than cheese. For a period I went with feta cheese, but then I felt restricted on the milk, so I was sinning milk. But not having to sin that milk necessarily, being able to have milk and cheese has felt like quite a luxury this week. Right, got to group, got on the scales and got a maintain, which is perfect. 8 stone 13.5, couldn't ask for any more. I will say that by Wednesday my head was beginning to think, you're putting weight on. I can feel it, you're putting weight on. And I had to stop and give my head a wobble and say to myself, what on earth are you talking about, you stupid woman? This is plan, you've got to trust it. Not only that, but looking at it logically, all I was adding by eating the cheese was about 850 calories over the whole week. And that isn't even enough scientifically to gain a quarter of a pound. So why I panicked, I don't know. But this is where I need to go to group every week. And this is where the numbers on the scales are vital for me. I know a lot of people share that they won't be defined by the numbers, and I don't think I do define myself by the numbers. But I do think I need an external thing to keep a check on my weight, because my internal mechanisms do not work. I tell you, by Wednesday I'd convinced myself I'd gained half a stone by adding that cheese in. But that's how crackers my head is. Cheese and crackers. Very good, Jane. It's vital for me to go to group every week. It's vital for me to know those numbers. But that's not going to say that I come out of group and I go, I'm really fed up because I've gained half a pound, or I'm really happy because I've lost half a pound. I don't let it define me. When other people say they won't be defined by the numbers, I don't give a toss what other people think about me. They can't define me by the numbers. I think they defined me by the numbers much more when I was 22 stone, because I wore my weight and everybody could see it. I think anybody seeing me in the street today wouldn't even notice me. They'd just see me as an average person. So they're not going to define me by the numbers. They defined me by those numbers for many years by probably looking at me and thinking, look at the size of her arse. Because believe me, it was enough to block the sun out. That leads me on to something that happened yesterday in Tesco's. We were in our local Tesco's, which is one of the smaller stores, and we'd done some shopping and we went to pay, and Joe uses the self-serve tills. Well, in ours you've got a till where somebody serves you, and then at the end of each one there's a self-service till. So Joe was doing his bit, with the self-service thing, and I was standing to this side of him. There was a lady just to the side of me who was paying at the proper till, shall we call it. Now, I'm a real eavesdropper. Like some people are people watchers, well, I'm a people listener. I can't help myself. And this lady had got umpteen bags of crisps, like multi-packs of crisps, and she had got several multi-packs of chocolate, and she was kind of unloading them and saying that's talking to herself and whatever. And then she said to the lady behind the till, oh my goodness, can't you tell my grandchildren are coming for the weekend? And my little radar went, oh God, I'm standing next to the old me. Not that I ever use grandchildren as an excuse. Mine was usually my husband eats a lot. And she said it 3 times. And I was thinking, what was it William Shakespeare said? Me think you doth protest too much. Because she was doing exactly what I used to do in the chip shop, I need a second portion because my husband, or a third portion because my son, whatever. Didn't have a son at that point. But she was making, what did they say, over-egging the pudding? She was overdoing it. And it just sounded like me standing there saying these things. And I was thinking to myself, love, that stuff's for you, just the way it used to be for me. And then I had to smile because she finished it by saying, can I have 40 Marlborough? They were my fags of choice. That's what I'd have bought, 40 Marlborough at the weekend. That'd have got me through Saturday and Sunday. And then the lady went, bah, 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 on the till, that'll be £52.20, please. And I just stood there, and I hadn't said anything to Joe at this point, but I just stood there, and yet again on this journey, I felt like I was standing next to my old self. This lady was really nice, and I don't know what size she was, because I couldn't see her, but it was just the old me, and it was the old excuses and justifying it. And how many of us are really good at justifying it? I've got to have this because it's Christmas. I've got to have this because everybody does. And I try to catch myself these days when I say things like that. You know, the phrases that we all trot out so easily. Everybody does it. No, they don't. When I come on here, if I say to you, right, today I'm going to have a hot chocolate because it's coming up to Christmas and everybody does it. I'm making excuses because everybody doesn't do it. We're all individuals and we all have choice. And if we want to do it, we can do it, but we don't have to do it. And if we choose to do it, it's not because everybody does it, it's hopefully because we want to do it. And then we don't carry the guilt that comes afterwards. But standing next to this lady yesterday, it was, you know, in my head, I could see the old me standing there, the new me standing here. And thank God I didn't need 40 Marlborough anymore. And thank God I didn't need all that chocolate and all of those crisps. And maybe I'm imagining something that wasn't really happening. Maybe she does have 20 grandchildren. She certainly had enough crisps and chocolates for 20 kids. Anyway, bless her. Wherever she is, I wish she'd come to group if she needs to. It's been a good week. It's been it's not been a stressful week. I've been full of cold all week, but that's not even been an issue because it hasn't made me feel poorly or anything. It's just meant I've had to blow my nose a lot. We've done a bit of walking this week. We've done a bit of shopping this week. We've done a bit of family stuff this week. It's been quite a normal week for the end of November. Food's been in its right place and I've loved every mouthful of it. And I just enjoy actually following this lifestyle because every day I get to eat what I really like and I get so excited about it. I used to get excited about overeating and binging and now I get excited about eating good food. I said to Joe before we came on, I'm going to share my food plan, my food diary with you today because I don't do what I ate in a day videos. And the reason I don't is because I can't just pick up the camera and take photographs and I can't just pick up the camera and video bits and bobs. And I don't want to burden Joe with that. And quite often when I'm going to eat something, he's not even here, he's busy. So I'm going to actually list what I'm going to eat today to give you an example of an average day on plan for me in case anybody's interested. Also, my thing is, I like my food straight out the pan, onto the plate, into my mouth. If I had to arrange it all and lay it out and try and make it look attractive and all that, it would be cold by the time I finish. I can't do cold food. I like fresh, hot food. So today's food plan for me, which will be 2 A's, 1 B, 15 cents, is breakfast, 50 grams of all bran, which is a healthy extra B, a 250ml tub of quark, and a large banana sliced. Now there's a little competition with myself. I can get 60 slices out of a large banana because I've got a really sharp knife and I cut it really thin. And I like that because it's, in a way, it's tantamount to mushing it into your all bran, but it's sliced so you don't have to count it. Whereas if I mush it, I've got to count it and I'm not doing that. So that's breakfast. At group this morning I had a large coconut latte, which is 7 Sims. My second healthy extra A choice will be 725 ml of coconut milk, which will make my coffees throughout the day. My lunch is going to be a vegetable frittata made with 3 large eggs, and that will have finely shredded Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, sugar snap peas and mushrooms in it, if I can nick some of Joe's mushrooms. And with that I'm going to have a McCain jacket potato and Heinz baked beans. So that whole meal is 1 Sim. For my dessert at lunchtime, I am going to have a punnet of blueberries, because we've found some really nice ones currently in Morrison's, really big sweet one. For my tea tonight, I'm going to have 2 packs of Tesco fish sushi, which is smoked salmon and tuna, and it's really nice because it's loaded with paprika. And that, if you don't like paprika, you would not like the fish sushi currently in Tesco's. Absolutely, the California rolls are loaded with paprika. It's so delicious. That is 3.5 cents a pack, so that's 7 cents. And then for my dessert after that, I'm going to have an apple, a kiwi and a piece of cheese. I love to have a 30-gram piece of good strong cheese with an apple. And then I've got kiwi fruits. I'm trying to eat a bit more fruit this week. I have done over the past 7 days, because I'm trying to get some vitamin C into me without taking it artificially. I think that's everything covered, isn't it? That's the whole day's food, and that is 15 sins, 2 A's, 1 B. That works for me because I don't have the sweet tooth I used to have, and I need filling meals, and all of those meals I will find filling. So, yeah, the McCain jacket potato is 1 sin if I didn't say that. So 7 sins for the coconut latte, 7 sins for the sushi, and 1 for the jacket potato makes my 15 for the day. One other thing I just wanted to mention, and it was something interesting that I was talking to a lady in group about it, but I'd also been talking to a friend earlier in the week. My friend asked me, do you round your sins up or down? And she was asking me because she wasn't sure what she should do. I said, what do you mean? And she said, well, if you've got something and you're looking at the 20 calories per sin rule, do you round up or down? And I said, well, I don't very often need to use that rule because most of what I have would be on the app. But if I did, I think I'm a rounder upper, not a rounder downer, because I'm protecting my weight loss. So she said, okay, so if something was 66 sins, and I went 3.5. She said 3. And she said if something was 74 sins, and I said 3.5. And she said, oh. And I said, I kind of look at it this way. If it's between, say, if you were saying 60 calories is 3 sins, if it was between 60 and 65, I'd agree, that's 3 sins. If it went over the 5, so it was 66, 67 calories, I'd round it up. So it would become 3.5 sins. And do it that way. And I know it's only half a sin at a time, but if I did it 2 or 3 times in a week, and I'm already maxing my sins out at 105, I'd be going over. So it's only a very small thing, but I thought it was an interesting question. Nobody's ever asked me that before. So I think I do round my sins up. So I was going to ask you the same question. Do you round your sins up, or do you round your sins down? And finally, one thing I've been thinking about this week, I've been watching a few old videos, recipe type videos on the Slimming World thing, and I'd also been talking to my Amazon Echo, trying to find some different recipes for fish, because I want to eat more fish. But I'm astounded how many recipes are based on tomatoes, and we've spoke about this before, haven't we, Joe?
Yeah.
A lot of recipes include tomatoes, so you're looking at tomato puree, passata, chopped tomatoes, whatever. I'm not the biggest fan of tomatoes, but I have a friend who doesn't like tomatoes. And I don't know why the thought went into my head. I thought, what if I was feeding Phil, what would I do? Doesn't like tomatoes. So, yeah, what do you do if you don't like tomatoes? If you were making, I mean, I was thinking about it again, I was thinking about doing some braised steak. So braising steak with onion in a gravy. And I was thinking, well, I could use OXO cubes and then I could thicken it with corn flour, because that's a savvy sin. But what would you do if you don't like tomatoes? Is there anybody watching this who doesn't like tomatoes? What do you use instead? Or what would you use instead? Because I reckon 9 out of 10 Slimming World recipes, savoury recipes, are based around tomatoes. And I think after 3 years at Target and 3.5 years on Plan, it wears a bit thin. I'm not that fussed about tomatoes. And sometimes I cook for my husband and I'll make him casseroles and different things. And Richard will be watching this. Hi Richard, he'll be watching this at some point. And it's like, you know, you make a chicken casserole, you put chopped tomatoes in. You make a beef casserole, you put tomatoes in. You make a veal casserole or a lamb casserole or a pork casserole, tomatoes, tomatoes, tomatoes. Eventually it all ends up tasting the same. So I'm looking for ideas, and I don't mind if it includes sins, but I'm looking for ideas, especially as we're at the start of winter, for casseroles, stews, soups, whatever. Well, soups is a bit easier, but that don't include tomatoes, so if anybody can help. So that's my week in a nutshell. Did the new plan, got to maintain, very happy, and I'm moving forward from there, and I think I'll actually do it again. I think now I've introduced that second Healthy Extra A, I'm going to go with it and see if it continues to hold me at target. I know as a target member I can add and subtract Healthy Extras, but I just wanted to do it according to the EE plan, because I don't tend to use the Slim for Life plan. I want to stay as an EE member. Right, hope you've all had a good week. We're fine, and moving forward. We'll be back next Saturday. And remember, it works if you work it. It won't if you don't. See you next week. Bye.